season one. Old head, young head.
Yeah.
What's going on, little buddy?
Not much, not much. Just been kept keeping up on the Olympics, on Summer League, all that stuff like that, you know?
All right, you're going to kick us off with some of the first topics that we started talking about. So let's jump right into it.
Let's jump right in. First thing I want to talk about is USA Basketball.
Well, we can talk about USA basketball. You got to talk about Kawhi Leonard, and
Kawhi
then I
Leonard.
saw this. Let's talk about the statement I saw today from Lawrence Frank. He said that he didn't understand. He saw the first two practices look good, and then on the third practice, Team USA said, "Got to go." What do you think?
What do you mean, gotta go? To Kawhi?
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. They
I
said
was
that he
told.
can't.
I was told it was Clippers. I thought I was told it was the Clippers that
Well, the Clippers
shut
Clippers
Kawhi
head
down.
head of operations came out. Lawrence Frank said that he thought
Mm.
they were good to go after the first two practices. And on the third practice, Team USA said they were going to go ahead and make a change.
Honestly, I'm fine with it. I mean, Derek White fits
Yeah,
perfectly.
well, yeah, DY fits perfectly. But
There,
my
there.
question is, like,
What happened?
who? What happened? Who made the decision? Was it Team USA? Was it Kawhi? Was it the Clippers?
It was the Clippers, I think. It had to have been the Clippers.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I mean, he didn't seem healthy coming in. I was surprised he was even nominated. He didn't seem very interested when he. I mean, he never seems interested anyway. So I guess you got to take that into account.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
mean, it's just how it is. I think it fits well with Derek White. I think the way they've been playing, they've actually had a close game with Australia, but Canada they played great. You could see their teamwork is going better. You know, one player I think that doesn't mesh well with America, who's ironically not American, Joel Embiid. I think Joel does not mesh well at all. I don't think he
no,
I don't think he plays well in Olympic because you think you got to throw it down there. There's no 3 second violation in the Olympics, so they can just triple team him.
I mean they're so stacked. They're going to win regardless. I
Yeah,
believe. I mean, I do think that Canada and France will probably give them their toughest battles, but I mean, I still see USA, France, and Canada as my top three. But yeah, there's no one that can keep up with him. And B doesn't really mix with that team, but like doesn't really matter. I'm glad they got. There's an old saying, old head saying that says, there's sometimes when you have a whole lot of bosses on a job, and too many chiefs, not enough Indians, and the thing is that they need more glue guys, and so DY was perfect for it. I actually thought that he was a better pick for the team than Jaylen Brown. Not saying obviously Jaylen Brown's infinitely more talented, but for that team, being a glue guy does the dirty work.
yeah.
I think it's great. That being said, I think all this is going to cost Celtics about -10 and T more going into next season.
I think I've always watched 82 games for the last 4 seasons of Celtics basketball every single year, seen them go deep in the playoffs. Jaylen Brown is a very interesting player. He has the ability to be a top 5 player in this league just with his scoring and mentality, but he's very like egocentric. He's a very selfless player, but he has such a big ego. Like as you saw in the finals, that last game, he was shooting the shit out the ball. He wanted the Finals MVP. The
Oh, he
last two
did.
games, he 100% did.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for that game, I don't think I think Tatum probably could have won if he had some at least one more game that was better than Jalen. But I don't know. I think some of the weirdness going on between, and I know for a couple of days in practice, Tatum was off, not in Vegas, and I
Yeah,
don't know if what was going on there. But I mean, maybe something behind the scenes. But I'm thinking maybe he went to go sign his contract in Boston for that extension. But I don't know. So. I mean, I'm glad Tatum's on the team. I'm looking forward to the rest of the prelim stuff, and I'm really getting excited for Summer League to be over. We're going to jump into that here in a second, but for the Olympics to kick off, and I really get to see Wemby and of course Team Canada and Team USA, and I mean for a sports fan, the Olympics are a lot of fun, especially
yeah.
the Summer Olympics. So
Especially since the team that the USA has assembled, where they have 13 All Stars.
yeah.
That's gonna be fun to watch. Now let's get into something a little different. Let's get into this summer league. Let's get into see how these rookies are playing.
Well, We're gonna refrain from making any Bronny James
Yeah.
jokes. That's just too easy. It's low hanging fruit. But I will say, Dalton Connect's done really well. I think the star, in my opinion, of the summer league so far is going to be Reed Shepard.
You think?
I mean, the guy just seems like he's NBA ready.
Yeah.
He's a little small. Obviously, summer league, it's super early, but I mean, living here in Houston, there's a lot of excitement for this year's team. Ime is going to have a second year under his belt, and I think he's going to be a great fit coming off the bench behind Van Fleet and everybody. And I think he's just going to be great. Now, I think, and if he was 2 inches, 3 inches taller, you could say the same thing about Rob Dillingham. But if Reed was 2 or 3 inches taller with that vertical, with that athletic ability, I mean, he's number one pick.
Absolutely.
And he shot up the draft boards anyway. But yeah, so Summer League, Spurs have shut down Castle for the remaining games at Summer League, but he's shown a lot in the few games that he's played. I mean, he's put up points. He moves at a methodical pace, but a very controlled pace. He's playing excellent defense. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? So you're watching right now. What, Celtics and Lakers?
Yeah, I think the star, not even coming from a Spurs fan, I think the star so far has been Stephon Castle. I think that game he had.
Yep.
He's by far the most NBA ready. He has an NBA build. You can see he's a smooth point guard. He can play the point guard. His passing ability is on point. It's crisp. I think one thing he truly needs to improve on a lot more is his shot decision making. He kind of struggles in that when he gets to that mid range because he's so good at getting the defender on his hip. But when he gets to that mid range, he kind of struggles. Should I do the floater? Should I do a mid range? Should I pass it? And that causes confusion and turnover. But besides that, I think he's played amazing. Grabs boards, passes, scored 22.
Yeah, he's looking good. Great. I mean, him and Reed have been the two standouts. Dalton had that one good game, but those two have been the standouts of Summer League. And, there's been some other players who've done a little bit, but as far as that goes, I think those two are the best outings for Summer League. And kind of reminds me of last year when people were ready to write off Wemby after the first game.
Yeah.
And then he came alive for the second game, and I think they shut him down. But, of course, everything speaks for itself. But, yeah, I mean, Summer League is coming to an end here in the next few days. And like I said, we gear up for the Olympics. But is there anything else you're looking forward when it comes to the Summer League? It was neat to see Pop on the sideline, giving a couple interviews, talking about Castle, talking about Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes coming to San Antonio. I mean, I'm excited about that. I mean, I think those guys are going to do so much to give some veteran leadership to our team and teach people like Castle, work with people like Castle and others on our team to really give them the confidence going forward and hopefully build on that into a championship contender.
Yeah, absolutely. I like Harrison's answers. I think he's a true professional. I personally didn't know how smart and well spoken the man was before I saw his interview. But man, he seems like he has an IQ. He seems smart as shit.
Yeah,
I think he's gonna be a great fit. He's gonna be a great fit.
I think yes. And talk about old heads. I mean, Chris Paul is 104 years old.
Something like that.
He was there before Wake Forest was a university. And I think he's going to provide a lot of leadership to a Castle, to a Trey Jones. Really let hopefully in the next year or two, Castle will be starting point guard and Trey will be a perfect backup at a good price for the Spurs. And I think that'll be our first and second unit at that position in the next year or two.
Absolutely. I think he's going to be a great fit. I think the Spurs can jump up to like we said in the last podcast, 8th, 7th.
Yeah.
One thing
Go ahead.
So one thing I want to talk about is the new in-season tournament bracket.
I haven't looked at it. I know I briefly looked at it and I saw the Spurs. That's got to be one of the toughest brackets to come out of. And I know it's going to be a good test for our guys. I mean, now that we know what the in-season tournament looks like, and I know that they're doing something different. I thought I read somewhere that they're doing something different.
They are.
For the games, for the actual in-season games this coming season. I don't remember what it was, but I thought it was kind of interesting. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it
Yeah,
was a good test. The one thing that the NBA does really well, better than most leagues, I think, is that it continues to evolve and try to find the balance of the perfect game. Sometimes it's the rules in the NFL can be long, methodical before they're instituted. There's a reason why the NFL stands for the No Fun League. Baseball,
yeah,
you're talking about a game that resisted change forever, and then finally, instituted the clock for the pitcher. And I'll tell you, like, it changes the narrative of the game. It
absolutely.
speeds it up, and I think it's better. I think it's a better game. But the NBA has always been the first to embrace changes a lot quicker and implement them, and then make corrections
Yeah,
when they know that something isn't working. And I'll tell you, I think the in-season tournament was a way to get people interested and advertisers interested in
massive.
the dead winter, November, December, when it's usually lower ratings anyway, and get teams interested. And honestly, for all the crap that people gave it last year, the courts look cool. The uniforms look good. I liked it. Not every one of them, but I thought it was a neat change up from the regular season stuff. And I think it's corny as hell to raise a banner,
Yeah, no, it is.
in season banner. If you want to put a plaque on the wall, I'm cool with that. There's no way.
Yeah,
I mean, Kobe Bryant's rolling over his grave raising that banner. But I mean, that being said, like, yeah, I'm. What are you looking forward to when it comes to the end season?
I think it's an amazing thing that Adam Silver, by the way, best commissioner in all
Oh,
sports,
hands down,
hands down
hands
best
down.
commissioner of all time in basketball, but in all sports right now. I'm interested in the rivalries that they set up in the brackets.
Well, pull them up right now. I don't have them in
I
front of
have
me.
it up right now. So one I'm super looking forward to is Spurs Thunder. We played them twice for the
Oh, well,
in-season
yeah.
tournament. I'm gonna
Okay, that's cool.
very much look forward to that Wimby Chet matchup.
Yeah.
Um,
I
Dallas.
mean,
So Dallas, Denver, Golden State, Memphis, and Pelicans. That they're in their own little bracket. That Golden State Memphis could be a fun little matchup rivalry. That's gonna be good.
all right.
I know the Bucks and the Pacers play 3 times. They have bad blood. Giannis and the Pacers. That's gonna be a fun
That's
matchup.
true. Yeah.
Yep. And then I think Boston has a cakewalk to win the
Of
whole
course
damn
they do.
thing. I mean, they have the Cavs, the Bulls, the Hawks, and the Wizards in their conference. It's gonna be a cakewalk. But out east or out west, I got Minnesota. I think they have the easiest, and I think they're gonna be an amazing team next year. But I'm really looking forward to it. It brings a lot of viewership for the
Well,
regular,
it does.
the casual fans.
What I like about it is that it kind of feels like a quasi NFL playoff game. The thing is, as someone who's watched basketball for so long now, that knows that the best team wins a 7-game series always, and I've always held to that. It's remarkably true. But sometimes, like in the NFL in the playoffs, sometimes you can have a team that's just hot for that one game. Maybe they got hot going into a game or two leading up to that one game in the
Green
playoffs.
Bay Packers.
There you go. That's a good example for last year, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys had dominated. They were struggling going into the playoffs, and then struggling going in, and they obviously saw what happened. So,
Yeah.
in season kind of feels sort of like that, where you may have a lesser team. So you're saying Boston has a cakewalk. Well, Cleveland for a game can hang with them. I mean, Washington for a game, yeah, they can hang. I mean, are they going to win the tournament? I don't know. Probably
Yeah,
not. Win the
I get what you're
bracket.
saying though. There's a lot.
But
of
I think that it gives that little bit of extra spicy edge that you wouldn't get in a 7-game series, and I kind of like that. I mean, hell, you saw Indiana. I mean, they played well last year, but you saw them go pretty far in the tournament. And so I expect, I expect to see something similar next year. I do see some of the worst teams do a little bit better. I think Spurs are going to do better. I mean, I know that. I got a feeling. I don't think they're going to win the bracket. I mean, that's just me. But I mean, I think they have the toughest bracket. Period. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the tournament,
Yeah.
and I think that with with what the changes, and I have to look up those changes because I remember thinking about it. Maybe if you can find them before the end of this podcast, uh, you can let us know. But there was something they are doing a little bit differently this year than last year, and I was looking forward to that. But anyway, on to the next.
On to the next thing. Let's see. I think the change is just the bracket setup. Like, I think last year it was just 4 teams and now it's 8. I think that's all it is.
It was something to do with
there might be a
broadcasting, or something to do with them how they're showing the games, or I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Let me see what else. What else do we have planned for this? The new TV deal, money.
Yeah, TV deal's big. I thought let's talk about the CBA. You know, I'm not going to get into the specifics of the first apron, second apron. I mean, obviously there's still a year left.
Yeah.
You know, there's still a year left on the TV deal, on the CBA. You know, they're coming into all that new stuff. It's new territory. I think the 2 teams that lead the way are Oklahoma, of course, and San Antonio, of the new model of what it is to build a longer term. But I'll tell you what, there's a third team that surprised me, which was Jalen Brunson taking a lot less money to keep a team of players around them so they can be competitive for the next 5 or 6 years. And I see, like, honestly, and you know, it's going to break your heart as a Celtics fan, you know, they have a much smaller window than say the Knicks do, because they're maxed out, right? They can't afford. They're going to be hamstrung in everything, you know, from free agent signings to picks, you know, in the coming years, where teams like San Antonio, Oklahoma City are really trying to build a model to learn what it is to navigate that first apron, second apron, and what it is to both have, you know, players who buy in. And that's the thing, right? Having a system, right? So Spurs and the Thunder have a great system, and I think you get players to buy in. Obviously, the Knicks are building a system. You know, as much as I begrudgingly like Tom Thibodeau, just because I think he overworks his players, I think that they're building a system there that players trust and buy into, and hence you get someone like Jalen Brunson who can take about 100 million less than he could have probably gotten. So that's crazy. That's crazy. You know, I mean, what do they say? Actions speak louder than words. I mean, LeBron talked it. Nobody wanted to go to LA, because the thing about going to LA, like Clay, for instance, you know, even if LeBron, you know, took less money for someone like Clay to go over there, which would have been a good pickup for him, you know, if at best they're basically a bubble team, a play-in team, a 6, 7, 8 seed, you know, and so if you don't do well, you're going to get the blame, you know, and I don't think that they're going to do well enough that as the roster is compromised to for them, you know. It's just going to be in a rock and a hard place for someone like Clay or other vets to come in there. And that's why I think, you know, doing what Jalen did, you know, LeBron talked about it, but of course he didn't do it. And now you have someone like Jalen who's done that so he can build the team he wants for the next 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, I think the only other player we've ever seen take a pay cut like that was James Harden, but that was some real sketchy shit with Daryl Morey.
I mean, shit.
Yeah,
talk about
some
old
real
right here.
sketchy shit with Daryl Morey.
Tim, Tony, and Manu.
Well, yeah, but I mean modern era.
You know, built, not bought, right?
No,
I mean, so there's some of that.
Definitely. Tim and Dirk.
What's that?
Tim and Dirk definitely took pay cuts.
Dirk, yeah, there you go. They both. I mean, so there is some of that, right? I mean, but then LeBron's taking the Kobe route, right? Kobe maxed out. I mean, get your money while you can. I get it, but I mean, it's LA, and you know. But my thing is, if you're that popular and that worldwide star, I don't know why you can't just take 15 or 20 million less and then build a team to be competitive. It can't be all about the money. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's about control. Maybe, who knows? I'm not into the politics. Some of those I can speculate in the peanut gallery, but yeah, that's. I think it's great. It's a huge TV deal. I think the one thing that it benefits it's going to benefit owners, hopefully fans, and owners more than it's going to benefit players. Right now, players have all the power, right? I mean, what do you do when you have a player making $55-60 million a year, you know, and you have your GM or your coach making $7 million? Who's the owner going to listen to, you know? And there's always that. The other sad part of the whole deal is, and hopefully they get a year to figure it out, and I trust Adam Silver is going to make something work, but, you know, we may see the breakup of the greatest sports show in the history of sports inside the NBA with my man Chuck and Ernie, and, like, that's going to be devastating. At least as a fan, it's going to be devastating because I mean, I grew up with those guys, either watching them on the court, listening to them on TV, and Chuck over the last 25 years on TV.
Yeah, man, that's the greatest halftime show that NBA has to offer. But I think it's good. I think it's good. It gives the power back to the owners,
Yeah.
whereas we've seen for the last 10 years, it's just been a player movement, players moving left and right.
Yep.
So I think it's good.
Trying to build super teams, and I think now it's going to be more
It's gonna be a
building
lot
on
harder.
Yeah, it is going to be a lot harder. You're going to see a lot more, one championship here, maybe, 2 championships over 4 years kind of thing.
Yeah.
Versus, back to back or three-peats or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's introduce our new little segment. We have a new segment. It's gonna be called. Let's see what's it called.
It's called Ass or Gas.
Ass or gas. Pretty much,
Yeah.
it's what we're gonna like. If something's gas, we name it gas. If it's ass, it's ass.
They're going to get the Ass or Gas award. So we're going to go back to Summer League. We're going to give the player who we think is ass and the player that we think is gas. And going with expectations, hype, whatever the case is for whatever we've seen so far. So let's talk about who is getting the gas award for Summer League, even though it's not over yet, right? But who's getting the gas award for this year's Summer League?
Okay,
I think it's Castle.
I think it's Castle. I'm gonna name 3 incoming rookies that I think deserve the gas award. I'm gonna give it to Stephon Castle.
All right.
Dalton Connect.
Yeah.
And Matis.
Dang, I was going to go Reed Shepherd.
Reed Shepherd, I think he gets that, but I think Matis he played good. He played good.
He did good. Yeah, I just think Reed had played more, and maybe he's got more. I have a easier time giving it to Reed over Castle, only because Reed will have played more games because they've already shut Castle down. But I think, me being a homer, I'm going to give, if you watch basketball and you're a basketball junkie, like we are, I think Castle gets the gas award for this year's Summer League. He just did it all. He ran the team. He played defense. I mean, that's the thing. Dalton Connect and Reed Shepherd weren't playing defense. They were scoring and they were passing really well, but they weren't playing any defense.
No, they weren't.
No, not like that. Now, like you said, Mathis had a great, and he's going to be great. I mean, they have a good little core there in Chicago. If they ever figure out what the hell they're going to do with, Zach and, Ball ever comes back. I mean, I doubt it. Anyway, I won't get back into what I think their father did to them. But, yes, I think, they got a good little core. And Giddey's going to be a good pickup for him. So, let's get back on track. The Gas Award, Stephon Castle for their 2024 Summer League. So far, we can revisit this for episode 3. But who gets the Ass Award? I know the easy ass in this is going to be Bronny, but
I don't think that's fair.
He's hitting his college averages. So
he doubled it in his last game at 8 points.
Yeah, he did.
He has the green light. I like how he played more aggressive. But
what's he got right now? Look at it real quick.
Let me check real quick.
Check that box score.
I think 2 players so far get the Ass Award for me personally.
What you got?
I got incoming sophomore Grady Dick. Man, he's been.
Is he actually? See, you know what? I might give him the Ass Award just because I didn't even know he was in Summer League this year.
Man, he's been ass. He's averaging like 10 points, playing like shit. Yep. Ain't shooting good. He's been ass. And then,
his best highlight of the year was a jersey swap.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know he was in Summer League. So you know what? He's got to be there. Bronny's got to be there. But it's still.
This is who I think takes the cake, which is amazing for Spurs fans. Obviously, I want to see the kid succeed, but Rob Dillingham has not lived up to what.
You know what? I forgot about. How's he done? I haven't even checked in on him.
He's averaging 8 points, 2 and 2. Listen, he's going to adjust. But
is he this year's Scoop?
I don't think he's this year's Scoop. Scoop was terrible for the first 30, 40 games. Came back from injury.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's this year's Scoop. I think it's gonna take him longer to adjust because he's a score first point guard. He's
Hey, he's 6 foot tall.
He's 6 foot, 165. He's shorter than me, and he weighs 10 pounds heavier. He's as light as a buck. I think it's gonna take him a while to adjust, but so far he's been playing like ass.
All right, well, let's give it to Dick or Dillingham as our 2024 so far ass awards for Summer League, because I didn't even know Grady Dick was even in Summer League this year. But it doesn't surprise me because he played like ass during the regular season, so it makes sense why he need to be there. All right, now as far as U.S. select team so far, not select team, but the Olympic for the U.S. team in Vegas for the first couple games they played, plus the practices. Who we're going to give a gas award to from what you see is doing really well. I got one person in mind, but you go ahead and tell me who your first is.
So are we taking off the select team or just like the real team?
No, just both, either or.
Okay, so I'm gonna pick one from the select team. Obvious answer. Kids playing
Cooper
Flag, ultimate professional.
Yep.
He almost led them.
Level-headed. He gets my gas award because he's 17 and he's doing this.
He's doing hezzy pulls over Anthony Davis. I mean,
he gets my gas award for both squads.
Honestly, I think for the other squad, I saw a few clips of Tyrese Halliburton. He looked great.
He did look good.
But I think Coop gets it. I mean, Coop was doing everything on the court. He was the best player on the select team, and he looked like he would fit on the real team. As a 17-year-old who's never played a second of college basketball.
I agree. I mean, you put him up there, and you got to think about like the OG, old head, Dream Team, 92. Christian Laettner, the one college kid there. I mean, he was a senior or whatever he was. But the reality was is that, he couldn't hang with those guys on that court, and Cooper Flag's he's playing like a 5 or 6 year vet who's got 3 All-Star games in his experience. So, he's hands down for me the gas award sole winner for practice, for and some of the exhibition games so far. Obviously, we're going to definitely be revisiting these awards as we go through the Olympics, the actual Olympics, and then we're going to open it up not just for the U.S. team, but for all the Olympics. Who was the MVP, the ass, and the gas for those two. Now, as far as ass goes, who?
JoJo. I think Embiid is just.
Oh yeah,
that was going to be exactly the one I was going to. He's just not fitting. I mean, Anthony Davis is a much better fit.
Anthony Davis, you could even put Anthony Davis as my 1B to Cooper.
Absolutely, he's been playing amazing.
Dude's been playing amazing. He's the defensive presence. He's rebounding, and Bam's coming in and done pretty well for what he's doing. I really like that. I like the fact that they moved Ant to the starting lineup. I know they're still messing around with some lineup, to get the lineups right before the Olympics kick off. But Ant coming in, starting, was fantastic for the team, even though they had a slow start against a really good squad in Australia. But I mean, you got some good old school Jock Landale, Patty Mills, Ingles. You got who Giddy, Giddy. So by the way, I mean, I think the legal age in Australia is only 16, so it's perfect. Anyway.
That's not like that in Australia.
Hey man, your age. Anyway, ass award, Joel Embiid, hands down. There's been no one that I think that just doesn't gel with that team at all. I mean, you could look at maybe someone who's quiet, not doing, and getting limited minutes like Drew Holiday, but he's doing his job, and I think he's doing it well. I just think Embiid's.
I think Book's.
He's too hurt. It's like Kawhi, but he's just 4 inches taller. The guy needs to take the summer off and rest and be ready for the grind, for the old man style basketball that they're going to be playing in Philly. I mean, Maxi's going to be putting that team on his back, in my opinion, because I think Embiid's going to be good. But can he give you 60 games? I don't know. Can Paul George give you? We're going on a tangent here. Can Paul George give you more than 60 games, 65 games? I don't know.
And even if he gives you 60 games, how good is? What is he? 33 now?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I know he went out and got his big long bag that he wanted, but anyway,
he's retiring after Philly. But
Ass award, Cooper Flag followed real closely by Anthony Davis, and I mean, I think by the end of this Olympics, I think Anthony Davis is going to be in that discussion. AD is going to be in
Yeah.
that discussion for sure, and definitely Gas Award is going to be Embiid. And we're going to continue this segment for, like I said, for the Olympics, and then once we get into preseason, and then of course NBA regular season, Diego and I we're going to be trying to do this weekly or so. We put out an episode. We'll take a little break after the Olympics, and then we'll get right back in once preseason starts, training camp, and I'm really looking forward to that. Also, one of the other things I mentioned here, hopefully by the time season starts, is I'm going to get a Google line, and I want to open it up for those who eventually do listen to us, because right now, obviously, the only people listening, I believe, is just family and friends, and that's all good. I love y'all, and I'm glad y'all support, but I think that I'd like to open up a line and take calls, and then have some nice calls with some other people, and that'd be a lot of fun, kind of like an old school radio station. So Anyway, what else you got?
Real quick, last thing with the Olympics is what do you think the final starting lineup will be for the U.S.
Okay.
Before the real games start?
Halliburton.
You think Halliburton?
Tatum. I'm just gonna give you the 5 best players I think that should be out there.
Okay.
Not gonna necessarily go by 1 through 5.
Okay.
I mean, Halliburton, Tatum, Ant, 80. I don't know.
It's hard.
KD probably.
KD.
He could stretch that floor. I mean, they all can stretch it. But Halliburton, who's going to be a pass first. Well, we need that. We're going to have AD doing all the dirty work, rebounding. That's going to be great. We got KD, playing a 4 that really can stretch that defense. Then you have, in my opinion, you got Tatum and Ant that will do it all. The mid range attack in the basket, point of attack, downhill stuff. And that's my starting 5. But again, I haven't seen enough. I know we got some more games coming up for me to make a better decision. But I'm calling it now. I think would be a really good starting 5 based on current personnel. What about you?
Okay, so I think I got Curry starting the point.
Okay.
Actually, I got Curry.
That's a good one.
I got Curry at the 2. Actually, I have Braun at the point. I just think there's no way they have Braun coming off the bench, but I don't think he's playing much. 5 minutes in the first, they sub him out, stuff like that.
There might be some of that dedication to the old guys.
Just like Magic started in '92.
But I mean, I just see the old guys really coming in and giving us that big boost. But that's just me. Now, Curry's coaching, so we know that there's a good chance that Curry is getting the first few minutes, and LeBron's getting the first few minutes, and AD's getting the first few minutes, and that's pretty smart too. I mean, putting LeBron out there with AD, they got a lot of familiarity, right? So maybe that's the move, and you take Ant back off and put him on the bench. But
I think then at the 3 I got Ant. I think he's just been a dog so far. I think he's taken a lot of premature shots, but I like him. He's getting the flow of the game rhythm. And at the 4, I got Jason. He just completes it out. He rounds it out. And then Anthony at the 5. I think Kevin comes off the bench just because he started off injured. Even though he is the career leading scorer in Olympic history, I think he just comes off the bench. Yeah,
you can make an argument for the old heads starting and the young heads coming off the bench, giving you that energy boost. But I can also see a mix, and I also can see old heads start coming off the bench and starting the young guys, run up that score, get out ahead, and then let the old guys come in and break teams down. That being said, I think a mix of old and young heads are going to be probably your best bet, especially considering the LeBrons and the KDs of the world who have done a lot of international basketball and understand the rules and the rule play and as young guys, I mean, this Curry here, this is his first, right? So he doesn't. No, obviously he's probably one of the most intelligent basketball players to ever play the game. So I have no doubt that he's not going to adapt very well very quickly. But these other guys have played so much that they understand some of the nuances of international basketball, and I think it will be smart to have some of them on the floor to start the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get into another topic, which I think is going to be pretty interesting. Let's name the top 5 who we think top 5 leaders in like different awards will be. So like most improved, MVP, DPOY, and this will be our last. This will be our last topic of the night.
DPOY hands down. I'm gonna start it off right off. And I'm gonna be. This is gonna be probably a hot take, but if it is any other human being than Victor Wembanyama, I'd be highly surprised. Obviously, it's not a hot take. If you look at the Vegas odds, he has exceptionally, I think it's 78% chance or something like that, way before the season even starts to be the DPOY. So we're going to get that one. That's the easiest one right out of the gate. Let's jump to sixth man. Who do you think sixth man of the year is going to be?
Sixth man of the year. I got this one's a lot harder to predict because we don't know who's starting.
Who's hot, who's healthy.
Yeah, stuff like that. But I think Nas definitely has a good chance to repeat.
Always. Yep.
I think Reed Shepherd's going to come off the bench. He's going to average a hell of a lot of points. I don't know. I don't know if he gets it as a rookie, but I think he'll score a lot off the bench. Who else is a great bench player?
I mean, who do we got in Oklahoma?
Oklahoma.
Who's their first sub?
They don't got much. I mean, they got the other J Dub. They got.
Oh, he's the second best player. Chet's starting, obviously SGA starting. I mean, Caruso, is he starting? Is he coming off the bench?
Who is Caruso starting?
I don't know. But if he does, if he comes off the bench, I think I got to put him up there. He's going to come out. He may not put eye-popping, brain smashing numbers up, but the dude's going to put up 14 points a game. Yeah. He's going to give you 5 rebounds, 3 or 4 assists, and he's going to play phenomenal position defense. Yeah. So, but I think Nas is probably your best bet.
Here's
Minnesota stays healthy.
Yeah, here's going to be my top 2. I think CJ McCollum.
That's good.
I think he's my number 1. I think if he comes off the bench, he has an amazing chance with what he does.
He's a starter, but we got Murray there. I mean,
you got Murray.
Playing 25, 28 minutes. Yeah, it could be a hell of a pick.
And then KJ. I think KJ could be him coming off the bench for a full season.
KJ stays healthy and he's consistent. He can be in top 3, I think.
And if we're winning,
what did he average before Wemby? 21 a game.
Yeah,
but he only averaged like 17 last year. My thing is that if he can be the leader of that second unit and put up 20 plus a game coming off the bench, you got to talk about him top 3. But as it stands,
and if we're winning,
if we're winning, and by winning, we need to be 500 or better.
Yeah,
like that's a fact. So at this stage right now, there's a lot of ifs too with CJ McCollum, whether BI comes back or how they're going to handle that. But I think CJ goes number 1. And I put Nas at 2 in the 6-man award at this moment.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about who we got.
You want to go Rookie of the Year next?
Rookie of the Year.
Okay. Who do you got as Rookie of the Year?
That's so. I don't know. Castle, Shepherd. Probably, I think about who's going to get the most minutes. I think Alex Sarr will probably get all the minutes and all the stats he can want to get, but I don't know if I see him averaging more than like 13 a game. He may get like 8 rebounds. He may have like 3 assists, but I just don't see him put up enough points. And this could be a year where we see the Rookie of the Year only averaging 15 points a game, and to be fair, last year we had Vic over 21, but Chet and Brandon Miller were averaging 16, 17. So I do think that's probably more the bar at highest for this year's rookie is 16 points. So if the Rookie of the Year is putting up 15, 5 and 5, I think they're probably going to win. I think Castle, because let's be honest, CP3 probably gets the start, and I think Castle probably finishes a lot of games. As the year progresses, if he can show a lot of growth, I think he can put up 15 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, a steal, a block. I think he could win that. But I think Reed may. But then again, Reed is obviously going to be a bench player in that system. He may. I see him averaging 12, 13. What do you think? Who do you give me a couple players outside of Castle and Reed?
Okay. I think, we might have been haters when I first told you about it, but Bub Carrington.
Bub's
dude
done
can
well.
play basketball.
He can play ball.
I didn't research Bub Carrington, but 20-point, almost triple double. That's amazing. I think he probably get top 5 again. There's so much freedom there in Washington. Alex Starr obviously is gonna have a lot.
It's gonna be a lot. I mean, God, it's Washington though, and you're gonna have Poole and Kuzma there that are gonna be the ones that take up the vast majority of shots. There may not be a lot left for the Stars and the Carringtons and the Bial Kulabis of the world, even though that's the team they really need.
Yeah.
The core they need to concentrate on. I don't see a world where those two guys aren't as disinterested and as selfish as I think they're going to be, and I think they will. So that's why I think any player, I agree. I think he's going to be a sleeper, top 5 rookie for this year. I don't even think it's a sleeper. I think it's he's going to play out of his mind.
Yeah.
I think another one that I'll throw out there, another name that's not those guys that we talked about, that could get some minutes on a fairly old team that isn't deep and could be very surprising is Jared McCain.
Yeah, I can see that. Jared.
Yep.
Jared's
I think he can get 20, 22 minutes, 24 minutes a game coming off the bench in Philly. I mean, hell, they might even move the starting lineup at some point, but coming off the bench for them, and I can see him putting up 13, 14, 15 points a game. I think to round out top 5, I think those are my guys. I think McCain, Carrington, Shepard, Castle, and who else did we say? Oh, Sarr. Yeah, those are probably my 5. That being said, we got to choose one right now. Who are you going to go with?
I mean, obvious choice is obviously Alex Sarr. So off of this, are we saying Zach is going to be an underwhelming player?
All right, I think this time next year, or right after the season ends, we're going to talk about our ass and gas. I think he's going to be holding that ass trophy right up to his face getting a big old whiff, because I personally think that I don't know, he gives me Andre Bargnani kind of vibes, and I don't know, he's gonna get pushed around. He's not, and honestly, the pressure of being number 1, like, it's tough, so I just don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna be rookie of the year. I don't think he's gonna be top 5. No.
Yeah, he looked real goofy out there.
I mean, and Atlanta. I'll be honest. Atlanta screwed up from 7 ways to Sunday. Maybe not as bad as Washington, but or Detroit. But I think I think Atlanta. It just has no direction. I like their coach. But I mean, in my mind, I think you trade Trey. You blow it up. You get some sort of your picks back somewhere, and you build around Alex Sarr, Richeche, and some of the other talent they got there, and hopefully you get some picks back, because next year and the year after,
we have their pick.
Yeah, we do. But yeah, so hopefully they suck this year. They win 22 games, and we end up getting the number 1 pick next year from Atlanta. It goes to us, though. You hardly ever see back-to-back number 1 picks, but we'll talk about that later. So, who are we going as rookie of the year?
I think it has to be Alex Sarr, but I think you know who's going to be a big time sleeper? Ron Holland. I like that kid's game. I like that. He looks like a pro. He looks like a pro.
He does, and I like his personality, his drive. I think he's going to be good. But I mean, it's Detroit, so I don't have any faith in any player. That's why I can't choose Sarr either. That's why I'm going to go with Reed Shepard as the rookie of the year. I just think he's going to put more of a complete game longer. He's going to get is known to not necessarily play his rookies, with the exception of the generational talents that we've been blessed to have, all that much. So, I think while Castle is going to put up 14, 15 points a game and probably 5 and 5, I think Reed's going to have a little more freeway in Houston, and I think he's going to end up being a rookie of the year. That's my opinion. Yours is Alex Sarr, so we'll go with that.
All right, let's go. Let's go to the
Lock
next.
that in.
Sounds good. Let's go to the next award. Let's go to most improved player. This one
Most improved.
is extremely hard to predict because, like, how do you predict a player's jumping up 7 points? But I'm gonna throw some names out there. You let me know if you think they're gonna be improved.
Scotty Barnes.
Scotty Barnes. I was about to say that. Jalen Suggs. I think he can be improved in that Orlando if Orlando plays good. France Wagner.
Who?
Franz Wagner. I think he can.
Oh yeah, Franz Wagner. Yep.
I think he can do that. You know, one player I want to say gets the green light in Golden State, Jonathan Kuminga.
I think Kuminga might have a good chance at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Kuminga.
I think he's in that perfect situation where they're all getting old. He's young. He's explosive. He averaged 14 last season. I think he can jump up to 19. Who else? Let me see who else. Because what you see, it's a bunch of like fourth year, third year players that get it. Get the
Typically.
award. Yeah, that's usually what it is.
They're making that leap, and if I'll throw out being a homer. I'll throw out one name I think may have an exceptional year because the pressure is going to be off him some. Is Devin Vassell.
Devin, okay.
I mean, he may jump. Who knows? He's at that perfect age to make a jump 3 or 4, 5, 6 points a game.
Yeah.
If he can do that and be a legit second scorer, because we don't need Castle to be a second scorer. We need him to be a facilitator and on-the-ball defender and still putting up 17, 18 points a game. But if we can get someone like Vassell who can put up 22, 23, and Vic puts up 27, 28, 25, 26,
Yeah.
And defers to Vic, he could be a great second option. Now, long-term, we'll talk about that down the road. But for next season, I mean, I think Devin's got a lot to prove. And I think he could be. So I'll throw him in there in the ring.
Okay.
Scotty Barnes and Kuminga will be my top 3.
Okay, sounds good. My top 3 is going to be, I think Jonathan wins it. I think he's in the perfect situation. I think Keontae George in Utah, man, he's a bucket. He averaged, I think, 12 last season.
Especially the trade marketing. I don't think they will.
I don't think they will, but even if they don't, I think there's nobody for competition there in Utah.
Yep.
I think he's going to average like 19.
Green light.
And then I think I got Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs played amazing last year.
All right. We're going to go. That's such a hard award to give them to single someone out right now. But we'll stick with those 6, and we'll move to the last 2 awards that I care about anyway, which will be Coach of the Year and then of course MVP. Coach of the Year. I mean, usually they try to give it to coach who has best record, right? Or maybe the coach came out of nowhere leading their team. I mean, who was it this last year?
OKC, I think. I want to say OKC or New York. It was one of the 2.
I mean, they're going to be up there. Same thing with the Minnesota coach. They'll be up there.
Yeah.
Orlando coach will be up there. I think those are your teams. If New Orleans can hold it together, I mean,
I was gonna say that. I think New Orleans, they have a
Memphis. If they're healthy, Ime Udoka. Because here's the deal. I mean, you get Alfred Sengun. Not that I'm, because I live in Houston, I am not a fan of the Rockets at all. But with Alfred Sengun coming back healthy, with them drafting Reed, with a year under Ime, with Green and everyone else they got on the team. You can't forget, I believe, who did they bring in? Was it Steve Adams too? They bring Adams in over from Memphis?
Yeah, I think they did.
That's a huge pickup. Down low, give some, a lot of big body, do a lot of things. They're going to wreak havoc, create havoc in the West, and I think they're going to end up getting into the playoffs big time. So I'm going to go Ime Udoka, my early call. Who do you got for yours?
I think it's between, for me, I think it's Joe, Coach Joe out in Boston, or if New Orleans can bring that narrative factor, because that's what they love. They love narrative for Coach of the Year.
They do.
I think he can win it. He's a great coach.
I mean, Murray's big pickup. Zion says if Zion can stay healthy.
If Zion can
You
stay
know,
healthy.
they got to figure out the BI thing. But other than that, like that team is got great. It's just a great team. They're scrappy and
Yeah,
they
they
play
are.
hard. Memphis obviously is going to have a hell of a year too. They're going to come back,
Yeah.
especially with the Triple J and Jaw coming. Coming back healthy. That's going to be a hell of a team. Regardless, he may not be all right in the West, but they're going to do all right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let me ask you this question before I go on to MVP. Do you think Pop gets one more?
I think he
Before
does.
retires?
I think he does. Maybe like narrative is an emeritus final one, but we also have to win. While I can see the Spurs being a play-in 500 team this year, I think it's going to be another year before we make the leap into the 48 to 55 win. If we get into that range and we're a top 5, 6 seed, we could see Pop win there. And the following year, which would be Vic's fourth year. I mean, and you get 1 year full under the belt with a 2026 draft pick, 2 years with Castle, and then a 2025 draft pick year, and then drafting 2026, which we know are going to be great drafts, and we're going to have some picks in them. I think we can be massively potent, and I think Pop does before he's got 4 years left on his contract. I think he plays out those 4 year, coaches out those 4 years. And I think he wins one more in year 4 or year 5 of that contract.
Yeah. I can see it happening. So let's go to MVP. Who do you think is gonna be the best player in the NBA next year?
It either comes down to two people in my mind. And as much as I love to give it to someone like Victor, he's not there yet. He will finish in the top 5 or 6. But I think it comes down to it all depends, of course, how the teams do. But I think. Obviously, I think Luka is my number one to start off with the season. Bringing in Clay, bringing in some outside shooting. They definitely need a little more big men to get down in there and do some work. But they definitely got better. Yeah, he's old. Yeah, he was the 0 for 10. Yeah, listen, I get all that, but he brings in a lot of veteran presence for some young guys. I mean, Kyrie's got some. He's going to be great, for that team. I think he's a better fit for that team. So I'm going to go Luka number 1, Brunson number 2.
I like Brunson.
Yeah.
So you don't think Jokic even gets? I think because Denver is going to decline.
It depends. Are they going to? You're talking about they just lost.
KCP.
KCP. I mean, I don't think they're getting better. I don't. Do I think Jokic is a seriously great talent? Yeah, but why didn't Luka get the MVP this year? Because the Mavs were the 5th seed.
Yeah.
If the Mavs are 2nd seed or 1st seed, it's him all day.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they have to be that high again for him to get it, but 2nd or 1st, 2nd or 3rd. But I can easily see the Knicks being 2nd seed out east and Brunson getting that. I can see Dallas 2nd seed and Luka getting it. I don't think anyone unseats Oklahoma or Boston from the number 1 seed. So with that being said, I think those two teams, if they're 2nd seed, I think it's up for grabs. Whoever's the lower seed loses the MVP between those two.
No, I like that. I think Luka definitely gets it. There's no shot. There's no shot he doesn't after.
Yeah, he's already out.
Finals.
Yep, he's already out of the Olympics, so he's gonna have a full summer of rest. And Brunson, same thing. They were so banged up going into that conference. I still don't see them beating Boston next year, even next year in 7 games. But I do see that series going 7, 6 or 7. But that being said, I think Luka is my 1 and Brunson would be my 2.
Yeah, I like that. I think Giannis.
Yep.
I think Giannis has to get a little talk in there too. But
Giannis and Jokic are always going to be in the conversation. But I don't see Denver being maybe a 4 seed, and I don't see Milwaukee being higher than a 5th seed. The East is tougher, and Dame just got a year older, and Giannis got a year older, and that's all they got. They have high grade. Next week when we talk, I want to start talking about some of the topics. We're going to talk about the Aster Gas. We'll talk about the Olympics. So look forward to that. But I also want everyone to pay much. I want to start grading some off seasons. um, and giving some decimal point gradings to how well teams did. We'll start with the East and then do the West. So we'll spend the bulk of the episode on that, and then we're going to talk about one other thing next week too that we're going to definitely talk about is who's left on the free agent market and what team they're going to be best suited for going forward.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Well, we're gonna call it.
Well,
we're gonna call
that's
it
it.
an episode.
Call that episode 2 in the books.
Yeah.
And we'll see you all next week for episode 3.
Sounds good. Thank you for watching.